Personally, I love introverts. They're like beautiful forest creatures that you don't want to scare away by tromping too loudly. But as my introvert friends have told me, sometimes being an introvert is difficult, especially in the wild west of our modern dating scene. And as singles looking to mingle, you're expected to mingle. So if you are an introvert, you might be asking, how can I date in a way that doesn't feel like slowly pushing pins underneath my fingernails? Or is it that, or just be alone forever? Like, how can I make dating not suck so much? Purr into the mic, kitty. Hi. I'm Caitlin V, professional sexual health researcher turned sex and relationship coach, and I help people overcome performance anxiety, show up in their relationships with absolute confidence, and achieve their hottest, most pleasurable sex lives possible. Follow me on YouTube as well as on Instagram for daily insights on how to have the best sex and dating life ever. But first, back to the subject at hand. What is an introvert? Well, when we think of introverts, we typically think of people who are really shy and really quiet, but that's not actually what an introvert is. An introvert is someone who gains energy from being alone. So if you go to parties or hang out with your friends and come home feeling satisfied, but mostly exhausted or worn out, you might be an introvert. You just want to collapse on the couch and spend time alone recharging your batteries. You might be an introvert. And if you're someone who gains a lot of energy by just solo me time, reading a book, doing your own thing, taking long walks, just generally being on your own, you might be an introvert. And this means that spending time with other people can be incredibly draining, especially people who you don't know very well in situations where you have to rely on small talk, aka dating. Dating requires all kinds of things that introverts don't particularly like. Introverts tend to close themselves off from others and establish contacts, new friends, new relationships more rarely. Dating, flirting, other stuff related to the beginning of romantic relationships can be exhausting and even emotionally draining for an introvert. And to add insult to injury, introverts tend to be deep thinkers and sometimes have the capacity to overthink, which can cause a lot of social anxiety around dating new people. And as you can imagine, social anxiety leads you to act in weird, mechanical, awkward ways, which makes dating even harder. Before you just crawl into a cave and give up on ever dating, remember that no one is 100% introverted or 100% extroverted. In fact, most of us are what's considered ambiverts, which is a mix of both introvert and extrovert. I, for myself, find that throughout the month, the week, even the day, there's times where I get a lot of energy from being around other people, and there are times where I feel like I need to just go retreat into myself and recharge my battery. So maybe you strongly identify with either introverted or extroverted, but understand that these are just useful labels that we can use to describe how to date in a way that feels pleasurable for you. And if that is the case, my friends, you have come to the right place, because I have for you the 7 best ways to date as an introvert if you want to be successful at making dating actually fun and enjoyable. Number 1, meet people through hobbies and mutual friends. They say opposites attract, but they don't really mean that in the way that, like, not full-on opposites, just people who have polarity between them attract. And that's why it is awesome to date someone who likes the same things that you do, whether that is rock climbing, camping, maybe you're both musicians in competing rock bands from across the city. Trying to meet people through the things that you love and the things that you're good at means that you're meeting people in your zone where you are confident, where you know how to show up and be yourself. Plus you have skills, plus you always have something to talk about. Like if you two are total rock climbing geeks together, you can talk about gear and ropes and shoes and handholds. I presume. I don't rock climb, but maybe you do, and maybe she does too, and the two of you can do rock climbing together. It doesn't require, you don't have to small talk when when you're like scaling a wall, just like repel each other and build trust that way. I think it's repelling. Hold the rope. It's a metaphor for trust. Number 2, pick a date activity that works well with your personality. If you hate loud crowds and you hate loud noises, don't take your date to the Blue Angels air show or to the punk rock concert where everyone is going to be cheering and screaming and stressing you the out. You will have a better time and a more successful dating experience going somewhere where you feel comfortable. There are no rules. There's no right or wrong place to take a date. So take your date where you are happiest. You want to show them a slice of you anyways. You want to give her a preview of who you are. So take her to that quiet coffee shop that you love. Take her on your favorite walk because you love this part of the park or the views from this hill. Do the thing that you really adore and your personality will shine through. Number 3, skip the small talk. Small talk is overrated. Now, I don't mean that you should just start dumping your deepest, darkest secrets right away. Like things like if you believe in ghosts and aliens, well, those are the things that I most want to know about you. Wait, pause, please write in the comments. Who here believes in ghosts and aliens or just aliens? I actually do care. That's like the first thing I am curious to know about you. And then I want to talk about your genitals. So not great for small talk over here. And small talk does play a role, but understanding that you actually don't have to just talk about the weather or what someone does for a living, and in fact skipping that and going to stuff that actually interests you that's underneath the surface level, but allows the person who you're sitting across from to share more deeply about something that they're, say, passionate about than their stupid job that they are just doing until they can become a full-time potter and retire to the countryside. And remember that there are actually no correct questions to ask, just showing genuine interest and being interesting, like being vulnerable enough to tell the person sitting across from you about yourself is enough. Number 4, meet people online and on dating apps. Dating apps are God's gift to introverts in the 21st century. You can write instead of talk. You can take your time to answer questions and formulate responses. You can really think about the next question that you want to ask. You can take your time really getting to know somebody. You can also not have to travel across town, interface with a whole bunch of strangers in loud places, and you can still really get to know someone intimately on a one-on-one basis. I highly recommend that if you do this, move from chatting to a phone call to a video call, and then decide whether or not you want to get together in person. This is the best way I have found for introverts to manage the excessive conversations that sometimes have to go down with finding someone through online dating. Also, it gives you an opportunity to learn a lot of things about them before you get together in person, which makes conversations flow a lot easier. And don't think that online dating apps are the only places that you can meet people online. Just like I said in tip number 1 about doing things that you love, go to places that people are gathered online to talk about the things that you love. Local community groups, forums, and other things that are of interest, especially if they're in your neighborhood or in your city, will also generate other people who you may want to connect with and date. Number 5, be genuinely curious. This is a great way to screen people to figure out who you want to continue to speak to and who you don't want to invest any more energy in. This is great for introverts because if you feel that the spotlight is always on you, you're going to feel more self-conscious. And then at the end of the date, you're going to think, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. I know I sounded like such an idiot. Why did I just drivel on like that? Asking great questions to your partner while also being honest about the questions and the answers that you provide is a really, really excellent tool to make sure that you have a genuine connection. You actually learn a lot about a person and conversation will flow so easily. By the way, pro tip, women love when men ask us questions. To put too fine a point on it, my experience with men is that usually they talk a lot about themselves and they fail to ask really good questions. And I'm not saying this is a dig, men. I love you guys. I hope that's clear by now. I make endless content for you to have the best sex of your life. out of love, but y'all are not great question askers. Y'all will answer a question with like 10 minutes of detail on you and what your interests are and what you love and what gets you going, and then sit there and ask for the next question. And if that is you, practice asking questions. Women love getting the chance to talk about themselves. And if you're already doing that, pat yourself on the back. You are ahead of 98% of your competitors. Number 6, be yourself. I hate that I even have to say this, but it's true, and we all need it, including me. We all need this reminder. Don't try to impress anyone. Just don't try to be something that you are not. That flex is exhausting. And if you are finding yourself putting all of this energy trying to pretend to be someone who you're not on these dates, you are never going to find out who actually likes you and who likes the person who you are pretending to be. There is no point in getting close to someone who doesn't like you for who you are. And so you get the opportunity to be you. And you know what the trick to all this is that knowing that you are lovable as the exact person who you are, which is not to say you don't get to improve or you wouldn't benefit from some coaching. We all would. But you, as you are, get to be loved. That's it. You don't have to pretend to be anybody else because you're enough. Number 7, and this is my favorite, and I don't understand why we don't all talk about it because I think it's so underrated. Take a break. I'm not talking about taking a break from like dating in general and just like living a solitary life with your cat. I mean, take a break while you are socializing. If you ever go on a date with me, you will know that I am a frequent break taker. I will excuse myself and go hang in the bathroom where I will breathe and think and maybe text a couple friends and get feedback. I will self-reflect on how the date is going. I will take a moment to recenter myself and ask myself the important questions like, do I want to get another drink with this person? Would I like to go home with this person? Do I see myself developing a relationship with the person? Would it be best for me to just exit gracefully now? What would I say to them if I do that? This break time, this processing time when you're solo is so important, and not just for introverts. This is for everyone. You do not have to just sit and keep coming up with the next question to ask or the next thing to say or beating yourself up for not asking the right question 2 minutes ago, but they're still talking about it. Taking a break is great for recharging your batteries. Take a sit. Go find a little safe space. Maybe if you're at a party, go to a different room. Go to a room on your own. Sit down. Take a couple minutes to breathe. I promise this might feel weird the first time that you do it, but man, once you get into the habit of it, you're going to be like, I think it's break time. I'm going to go take me one of those breaks now. Thanks, Caitlin. Ding. And bonus tip for all of us out here who like to ruminate, myself included. After the date, say thank you for the great time. Ask them out again if you want to, not because you think you have to, but because you really, truly want to, and then leave it. Close the door on the date and don't mull it over too much. A lot of introverts and ambiverts and even extroverts, we can start to dissect and pick apart and analyze all the things that happened during the date, what went right, what went wrong. Say you ask her for a second date and she says no, and then you start going back line for line for line. Where did I f it up? Where am I the moron? Skip it. Take some time to reflect, maybe break it down with a coach or with a counselor or with a trusted friend or advisor after, but do not sit there and ruminate in the negative things that came out of the date. If anything, remind yourself of the top 3 or 4 positive things that came out of the date and just repeat those over and over and over and over again until those are the only things that you can remember. What if you tried all of these things and you still hate dating? Well, do not decide that dating just isn't for you and you are just going to live a life of solitude and loneliness. Damn it. Decide that you are going to get some help with this, because I guarantee that me and my team can help you to move from solo introvert who is confused about dating to man in his total zone of genius who understands how attractive he is and ends up lining up perfect dates with total ease and finding himself in a relationship. In fact, one guy who recently came through our coaching program went from dating a woman who was walking all over him like a doormat to having two women that both know about each other and are kind of interested in having a threesome. I don't know, it hasn't happened yet, but we'll see how that one turns out. I also had another guy recently go through my coaching program who came in single and confused. He felt dumpy and unattractive, and he was dealing with some erection problems because of all of this lack of confidence that was like sitting on his heart. And now he also has multiple women who he is seeing on a regular basis, and he actually did have a threesome. Now that I think about it, he actually did have his first threesome ever. You could go from introvert who doesn't know how to date to literally having two women sucking your dick at the same time. It is possible, and trust me, these guys did not think it was possible for them either. It is absolutely possible for you, and if you want me to show you the way, apply for High Performance Male coaching, and I will walk you through it step by step. It'll be so easy. You will wish you did it sooner. I am Caitlin V. This is my channel. Please make sure that you are subscribed so that I can continue to deliver excellent relationship, dating, and sex advice to you every single week. Thank you so much for tuning in. I look forward to hearing all of your thoughts on ghosts and aliens in the comments. Bye.